If you're starting a business podcast because everybody says that you should, take a pause. Most business podcasts don't fail because a host isn't smart enough. They fail because nobody built a system that turns a microphone into revenue. I'm going to give you 5 brutal truths that you need to hear before you even record episode number 1, so that your podcast doesn't become another abandoned project. Brutal truth number 1, if your podcast doesn't have a defined business outcome, it's an expensive hobby with a microphone. Now, most business owners start a podcast with great intentions. We'll talk about our industry. We'll build authority. We'll just see what happens. And then life happens. A busy week hits. 2 episodes get delayed. Then it's 4. And then finally, the podcast slowly dies. And here's why. If there's no clearly defined business outcome for your podcast, your brain will start to treat it just like some optional entertainment. Before you record episode 1, you need to answer this one question first. What is this podcast supposed to do for my business? Is it going to generate qualified leads? Is it going to drive referrals? Is it going to open partnership doors? Will it increase retention by educating your customers? Even brand building can be an outcome only if you clearly define what brand building means in terms of behavior. Is it more inbound calls? Is it higher close rates? Is it maybe a shorter sales cycle? If you can't define the outcome, don't hit record just yet. Define the outcome first, then build your show around that. Brutal truth number 2 for your business's podcast. Your biggest constraint isn't ideas, it's consistency. You don't need more podcast ideas. You need the motivation to keep moving forward even when you're tired, you're busy, or you're just plain not in the mood. Businesses quit their podcast for the same reason that many people quit going to the gym. It's not because they don't believe it'll work. It's because they cannot maintain the rhythm that is required to get real results. Consistency is the strategy, is what turns content into trust. You see, when you disappear from the podcast for 3 weeks, the audience doesn't think, oh, they're just busy. They think, well, this isn't important. This isn't going to last. And guess what? They're going to move on and forget about you. Now, hear me out. Consistency doesn't mean that you post daily. It means you choose a cadence that you can consistently maintain, and you build a system around it that helps you to protect that cadence. For most business owners, this is what it looks like. Maybe you record in batches. You plan your topics in advance. You have a repeatable episode structure. They also will hire a team that will help them stay consistent with their production. Now, the goal is to make publishing inevitable, even when the business gets chaotic. My advice to you is to find a cadence that works for you and commit to it for the next 90 days and just see what happens. Brutal truth number 3 about your business podcast. Downloads are just a vanity metric unless they are directly connected to revenue. Most people obsess over downloads because downloads are measurable. But hear me on this. Measurable doesn't equal meaningful. In business podcasting, the win isn't the amount of people you get to listen to you. The win is that you build trust with the right people. For your business podcast, you have to think of it more as a sales asset than as a media brand. So instead of asking, how do I get more downloads? You need to ask these following questions. Are sales conversations now easier because people are now more familiar with us? Are we closing faster because people are now more familiar with our product and our process? Are we getting higher quality referrals because our partners understand what we do even better? Are some of our ideal clients mentioning specific episodes? Now, you can't always track this with perfect attribution, but you can track it with the leading indicators. Inbound mentions, watch times, inbound email replies, booked calls, or even our relationships with our guests. So stop chasing downloads and start building demand. Brutal truth number 4 about your business podcast. Short form clips do not replace long form content. They feed it. If your entire plan is, we're just going to post clips, then you're not building a podcast. You're building a highlight reel with no foundation. Short form is amazing for capturing attention, but attention isn't the same thing as trust. And trust is what you need with your potential customers. Now, clips create the first touch, but long form content, that builds the belief. Now, the full episode is where someone hears your story, your nuance, your standards, your confidence, and then they decide, yeah, you know what? I trust them. Now, clips are part of the journey, but they are not the destination. They're supposed to lead your customers somewhere, such as the full episode, a landing page, or even a lead magnet. Whatever your next step is, the clip's job is just to move the customer one step further down the line. Now remember, clips do not replace the long form. They're the distribution engine that feeds it. I want to encourage you to build both. Otherwise, you're going to have views without the velocity. Now, brutal truth number 5 about your business podcast. If you're not building a content library, then you're paying for the same marketing 2 times over. Now, if you record a podcast and all you do is publish it and do nothing else with it, you've just paid a premium price for a one-time post. Most business owners feel like content is like a hamster wheel. They just post out one piece and then they move along. Record, post, do the same thing next week. Now, here's my tip for you. A business podcast isn't just some weekly content that you post. It's an ongoing, ever-growing content library for your business. Answer objections, building trust, and moving your buyers closer and closer to that next step. Now, every episode should create assets such as clips. You can get emails. You can get other sales assets. You can even get follow-up material that you can send to customers. And you can even create landing pages based on that content. Don't start a podcast just merely to publish episodes. Start a podcast to build assets. Now, if you're serious about building a podcast that actually drives your business forward, don't just hit record and hope for the best. Build the outcome, the cadence, and the system first. Then let the content compound. If you want help with building that kind of podcast, go ahead and hit subscribe, and I'll see you at the next video.